step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use. Every comment, hate that makes my fuel. Gather up my energy and boom. I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with. Giving my blood, so I am relentless.
This is the Keep Hammering Collective. I'm with Jeremy. It's Eldredge.
Yep.
I don't know if I've ever really said your last name. I've read it a lot.
Yeah.
But Eldredge, yeah.
Eldredge. Yes, sir.
So, and you are Hoyt, what are you?
Director of Marketing.
Director. Ooh, you're a bigwig. What about VP?
Yeah.
When does that happen?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, but Director of Marketing, that works. So how can I get sponsored?
Man,
do you ever get that question?
Yeah, all the time.
So
all the
yeah,
time.
I would think that like in your position, you're always getting reached out to, right?
All the time. All the time.
I was curious if that's somebody's goal, what do they do?
They got to sell bows.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to sell bows. That's why we pay marketing money, is to get a return, right?
Right.
I mean, that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
So however they decide to do that, whether it's have a podcast and be an awesome bow hunter and influence people, or whether it's a YouTube channel or whatever they do, we got to be able to see a really good return. And then, it makes sense to work with them in some way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know it's tough because I've been the guy who wanted to, you see, when I grew up, it was Chuck Adams and, Larry D. Jones, Dwight Schrute, and I wanted to be a writer and wanted to be sponsored. That's like, that's a dream. So I know what it feels like. And when I first started, first it was an Oregon bow, and they were right here in, where were they? They were out in Junction City. Yeah, Junction City. And so wanted to be, whatever, shot Oregon. Then I shot an XI Legend, which I think Miles Keller shot XI, so I wanted to be that. That was good. Then I think I shot a High Country. I remember I wrote some letter to Mark Garcia. I don't even know where he's at. He's probably still in the industry, but he was at High Country at that time. Anyway, I wasn't selling bows.
Yeah.
To your point, it's just like everybody wants to like jump the curve and get to the sponsor without having really earned it. I hadn't earned it. And then finally I started shooting PSE, and their whole thing is like they had commercials up that says, something like, we don't pay any of these people to shoot our bows. Right. And then I was in there. Then it was like, well, that was kind of screwing me a little bit, but I get it, because you do want people who will shoot your bow just without getting paid. Right. I mean, I guess that means they believe in it. And then, but then there's like, okay, so now I'm starting to pay my dues and earn, some influence a little bit. I was writing for Eastman's. I had done a book, and I was like, okay, I think I'm earning something. And then that's what led me to Hoyt in 2005 is when I switched to Hoyt. Were you there?
I just started.
Oh, really?
I remember when it all happened. And Mike Looper at the time, the marketing director, he was so pumped. We got Cameron Haynes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I remember that very well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that was a while ago.
Yeah.
2000, almost 20 years ago now.
Yeah, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. And what were you doing at that time?
So I started at Hoyt in the supply chain department. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was doing purchasing, and a lot of the accounts I was handling were the marketing suppliers. And so I got to work with Mike a lot and his team. And after a year and a half, he's like, dude, you need to come work in marketing. And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like what I'm doing. He's like, no, Jeremy, this is marketing at Hoyt. Yeah. And you love bow hunting. Like, don't say no to this. And so I was like, all right, I'll come try it. And 20 years later, here I'm still there.
And what were you doing at that time for marketing?
So I started out, I was doing pro staff and promotion coordinator. Mm-hmm. And so I had a lot of the tournament shooters, and I didn't have the bow hunting staff at that time, just the tournament shooters. I did that for, seems like it was less than a year. And then I became an assistant marketing manager, did that for a little while, and then marketing manager. And then that was kind of the ceiling for a minute because Mike was still there. Yeah. And I didn't think Mike would ever leave. I thought he
was entrenched there.
Right.
I mean, it seemed like he was like the guy.
Right. Yeah. And then as things do, things changed. Mike left and opened up the next door. And then I became the director of marketing.
And how's it been?
It's been good. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the next level of stress. You know? Because now, I mean, as the marketing manager, you're managing what the director wants you to do, right? And you're giving input, but at the end of the day, none of the decisions are really yours.
Right.
So there's no consequence to your decisions.
Yeah.
But now, as the director, there's no one to look up to and be like, that was a dumb move. You know, it's all right here. So
Yeah.
but it's good. I've got an awesome team, and Zach, the president, he lets me do my deal. And so, yeah.
So I would think it's changed a lot, because if you just think about the industry as a whole, you know, TV was kind of,
Oh yeah.
it was everything.
When you were talking about outdoor writers, that was it, man. We had a pro staff of outdoor writers and TV personalities.
Yeah.
And that's where we were putting all our eggs, is in those two baskets.
Yeah.
And it's a lot different now.
Yeah. It's like, do you think is it harder? Because at that time, so if you just say, okay, if I'm going to go TV, then you go, well, you know, Waddell, obviously, he's, you know, one of the most popular figures on Outdoor Channel.
Yeah.
So you could give him, you could write a big check and just be like, well, he's going to sell bows.
Yeah.
And then now it's with TV. I don't even know where TV is now. I mean, what percentage of is it for you guys?
As far as our budget,
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot less than it used to be. TV's just, I don't know. It's just an older model. It still has its place.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys are still watching it, but with all the digital, you know, platforms now with YouTube and social, I mean, you can just dial it in so much better. When you run an ad on TV, you're paying for it no matter who watches it and how many people watch
Right.
it, if anyone sees it. It could be on at 2 a.m, you still paid for that spot. But on YouTube, we only pay when someone watches it. So,
Yeah, views.
And we can target who we want. We want this ad to run in the Midwest to people who like bow hunting. Like, we can dial it in, and YouTube will hit that audience best they can. And so there's not really any, you know, wasted ad dollars. I mean, there are, but not like TV, where it was just like run some ads and hope for the best. And so it's much different now.
Do you feel like, because you can dial it in more, or you have to dial it in more, do you think the return as a whole is better?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we can tailor our ads. We've got an ad with you running right now in the West. We're just finishing up an ad with Waddell that will run in the East. And, you know, and he's shooting a whitetail in the woods. You're shooting a bear out here in the West. I mean, it just speaks to the audience a little better. So
Is it like, when you say run an ad, is that on social?
it's on YouTube.
Oh, on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
And we run it on social too.
Yeah, because can't you, or let me think, how do I do it? Maybe I do. Maybe it's YouTube. Yeah, because I got somebody who does like the targeted ads, like for the truck giveaway. I can, instead of going to the same person, I can go to, you know, a lot of people do these ads and it gets to the same person 100 times.
Right.
But if you got the right guy running it, it's going to new people each time, or new demographics.
Yeah. It's just crazy. I don't know how powerful it is to be able to advertise to whoever you want, wherever you want, and do a pretty good job at it.
Right. And so as a whole, how is archery industry doing?
It's doing good. I mean, it's, you know, we hear a lot that it's a shrinking market, or it's, you know, there's fewer hunters. And I think that's true, but I think those that are in it, especially in our circles, right, where people are following you and people are following Hoyt, it's way easier to be more engaged than it ever was in the past, because there's more content, more places to follow. So those that are engaged can be way more engaged than they could have been 20 years ago, where they waited. They'd have to wait for the next magazine to come out, right?
Yeah.
To get new content.
Yeah.
And now they can go every day and get new content wherever they want. So I think it is a shrinking market. I mean, if you know, we were just looking at Google Trends. I don't know if you've ever looked at that. You can type in Google Trends. It brings up a Google Trends website. You can put in any term you want, right? And it shows from 2004, when they started tracking it, to present day what the trend line is. And unfortunately, you put bow hunting in there, and it trends down. Right?
Really?
Yeah. And
okay.
So there's one indicator. You know, license sales is another indicator. Just sales is another indicator.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, you know, it's not in its heyday as far as number of people participating.
Yeah.
But those that are participating, I think, are participating at a higher level than they did years ago.
Yeah. And I mean, Hoyt as a business still kicking ass? I mean,
Oh yeah.
because when I think of it, and I don't know numbers, but it's all, Hoyt, Matthews, and then probably what PSE is third.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But I
Or who
agree.
else?
When you're talking about high-end bows,
Yeah.
the conversation's always about Hoyt and Matthews. Yeah.
And so, do you guys look at that as they're your only competition?
We always refer to them as our main competitor.
Yeah.
There's other competition. We don't want to lose track of them, but Matthews is our main competitor.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was curious about this too, because I had, Levi Morgan on, which, I got a lot of respect for, and he's such a great archer. But how does, so Hoyt and Matthews, how's the market target compared to hunting? I've never heard this.
Yeah. So target archery, in the States, most target shooters are also bow hunters. Not all of them. There's some that just enjoy target archery and
Yeah.
it's just their hobby. But the bow hunting influence, it's undeniable in the States. It's carried over into target archery. Guys love bow hunting and they really love shooting their bow. How do I shoot my bow year round? Oh, there's target archery. So I'm going to get into target archery and shoot leagues at my local club. And then from there, man, this is fun. I've heard about this Vegas shoot, and they go to Vegas and shoot, right? And so in the States, target archery is healthy, and it's a lot of carryover from bow hunters. And then internationally, target archery, that is the game, right?
Yeah,
They're not bow hunters.
Not really hunting.
Yeah. And then within that, recurve archery is more popular than compound archery.
Okay.
And a lot of that has to do with the Olympic influence, right? So if you're into a sport, whatever the highest level you want to attain to get to in archery, that's the Olympics. And so, and this year's an Olympic year. We're pretty excited. There's always, we've won more medals there's been more shooters with Hoyt bows win medals than all other bows combined.
Yeah.
Since the reintroduction of the Olympics archery into the Olympics in 1980.
That's pretty sweet.
So we have a pretty proud history there in the Olympics. So we're looking forward to later this summer, seeing how our shooters do.
Yeah. Is it Brady or?
Yeah. Brady
Yeah.
Olson.
Yeah. He's going to make it, right?
Yeah. He's earned his spot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's iconic. He's won a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he bow hunts, to your point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always just wondered about that because you see it's different because it's score wise, but you see the guys like the Levi or all your shooters too, but with the big checks.
Yeah.
Hunting, nobody's with a buck with a big check.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's
you don't really know how it compares. You see the money in target, but you don't see how that correlates to hunting.
Right.
So I was just curious how that broke down, because in my world, because I don't give a fuck about target, it's all hunting. So I'm always like looking at skewing it, saying, oh, it's got to be hunters that carry this thing, but I never know.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's as far as our market, I mean, it's 90% hunting bows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it is bow hunting that carries it, and within bow hunting, it's the whitetail
Yeah.
world that carries it, right? If there wasn't a whitetail deer, man,
that'd be tough.
Your checks would be a lot smaller from Hoyt, I'll tell you that.
So you're saying hunting is 90%?
It's probably at least 80, but it's at least 80% of our.
Okay,
of
so
our
I'm
sales.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy, even though I don't do it, I enjoy watching those guys. I enjoy watching, competition's always fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I follow along with, is it Bodie, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that story.
Right.
And I think he hunts too, but I mean,
Yeah.
he's just more of a phenom shooter.
He's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I wonder, I was curious about this too. Like Bowtech had this big thing where they cut all their pro staff, except maybe Paige.
Yeah.
Like she's a female shooter, but they cut I think Tim Gillingham and who's our other?
Yeah.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that about? You think just sales?
Yeah, I think it's budget related. I mean, tournament shooters, they can be expensive.
And if it's only 10% of the market.
Right. So if you're not getting a strong ROI on your target bow sales specifically, and you can't see a correlation in your hunting sales from their influence, then after a little while it can be like, man, we can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably, what it boiled down to is like paying a lot of money. It didn't pay off like we thought it would. We got to make the right decision for our business.
Yeah.
So
I saw there was a lot of people up in arms about that, but business is business. No matter,
Right.
even if it's something we love, like archery, it's still business.
Right.
You know, so I mean, I get that, you know, Bowtech, they can't just be paying people just to pay them, but I felt bad for these guys were still winning, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, still doing their job, and I wasn't good enough for whatever reason. But
Yeah.
I think they got picked up by somebody else.
Yeah. They're doing fine.
Yeah, it's yeah, the archery and the hunting industry is pretty cool. So what's the most powerful? Do you think like YouTube or is it podcast nowadays?
Yeah. For me, in my opinion, it's YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the amount of content out there and the number of people using that as their search engine to find out information or to be entertained or whatever.
Yeah.
And then podcasts, probably right behind that, just because they're so convenient. You can listen to it anywhere, right? Driving, working out, working in the yard, whatever you're doing. It's easy to put one on, and so those are just because of the convenience of them. And if you've got a following, they're gonna every time there's a new one, they're gonna listen, right? We all have those of ours, like, we know every Wednesday a new one's coming out or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We look forward to it. So yeah, I think they're definitely right after, probably, close second after YouTube, in my opinion.
And then what do you think results in sales? Like hunting and showing like a perfect shot, or is it like technical stuff?
Man, it's $1 million question.
Yeah.
If I knew exactly what it was, my job would be easy, but it's a mixture. I mean, we've always been known as an innovative company, right? Hoyt, from 1931, when Earl Hoyt started Hoyt, he left his job as an engineer at McDonnell Douglas, engineers and airplane engineer. I mean, he left that to start Hoyt, and his ideas and his engineering mind really took archery to a different level. There's a lot of patents that he has that are still being used today in archery, almost 100 years later. So we're an innovative company. We're an engineering company. It's kind of what our brand is known for. But that can also not land well with people who don't really care. They just love bow hunting. And so for those people, you got to hit their emotions, right? The hunt, the perfect shot, the carrying out the rack, whatever. So it's a mixture of continuing the brand innovation message, and then also, this is why we do what we do, man. We love this. We love being in the woods. We love the early mornings, whatever it is.
Yeah. That's, Hoyt's always been so aesthetic as far as just looked so good. That's what brought me to Hoyt from PSE in 2005 is you just look at the riser and the cams and it just seemed like it was higher quality.
Yeah.
It's just that look for maybe the engineering, and it's kind of, that stayed true to your point. Probably was always that case. I just didn't notice until 2005. But Hoyt's always had just like such a good looking bow. And then, nowadays, me and Joe are always talking about how can they keep getting better. I think you guys saw that or put up a clip or something, but I was talking about the little support for the cam so it's not in the dirt, but it's so many little things, and it's like you wonder where's the ceiling.
I know.
It's pretty fun, but like when does it end?
I don't know. It's at some point, sometimes I feel like we're there, like bows haven't got faster in 10 years, right?
Years, yeah.
Right. It's like 340 is the number. Some of us get to 344 and some of us are 342 and some of us are 340, but it's kind of the number, right? It's to get any faster than that, the bow just wouldn't be shootable. You wouldn't want to draw it back. The draw force curve would be so horrible. So speed wise, we're there. Now I think what we're focusing on is just the experience of the whole experience of using the bow. So a few years ago, we came out with inline accessories where instead of just, putting the sight on the side of the bow and the rest on the side of the bow, and now the bow's a little bit, lopsided on weight, we figured out a way to put the sight on the front of the bow. The rest is in line with the bow. That lets the quiver come in tighter. We moved the stabilizer position down lower on the bow so that a shorter stabilizer, lower and further forward, so that a shorter stabilizer now does what a longer, heavier stabilizer used to do. So just all these details to make using the bow better, right? The bow's now more balanced. Overall, it's lighter weight. So we're chasing those kind of improvements, and then also just shock and noise, just chasing that as hard as we can, and making it as quiet and as dead in the hand as possible. And then the other thing is just the draw. Like, we have a campaign this year, 70 feels like 60.
Oh.
And we keep hearing that when people shoot our bows. They're like, is this really 70? At the Total Archery Challenge there at the booth, drawing it back. Is this a 70-pound bow? Yeah, it's 70, man. And so the smooth draw, the inline accessories so that everything balances better, quiet, dead in the hand. I mean, we're just making the whole experience better, because the most noticeable thing would be speed, but we're maxed out. Yeah. For now.
That was just such an easy marketing thing for everybody. Yeah. You could just put that number up. Yeah. And then your job was easy. But now it's getting a little tougher. One thing I do notice is, we set up 20 people with brand new Hoyts yesterday, and every person shooting through paper and out on the range is just so quiet. Yeah. Nowadays, that's what stands out to me is, and also then when you shoot them, the bow doesn't do anything in your hand, but it's pretty dead there, but they're so dang quiet. And that's such a big improvement. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's, our engineer's been working hard on that the last few years. They invested in this sound room. It's, I don't know, maybe as big as your workout space here, and the whole thing is covered in sound foam. And it's weird. You go in there and close the door, and it's like, it's an eerie feeling because you can't hear anything. Right. All that noise from the outside world is shut out. It is complete silence in there, which we rarely ever experience, right? So you go in there and it's, wow, what's going on? It's so quiet. And they have all this measuring equipment in there. And so they've been chasing shot sound for the last 5 or 6 years really hard, and they've gotten good. I mean, our bows are really quiet.
Yeah. So they have a standard arrow weight that they shoot or something? Yeah,
5 grains. It's kind of the industry standard, 5 grains per pound.
Yeah, because obviously a heavier arrow is going to be quieter.
Yeah.
Because do you guys ever test, like, there's one thing with the bow leaving, but the animals pick up the arrow. Do you guys ever test the arrow sound? Because Fletch, broadhead design, that, animals hear arrows.
Right. Yeah. We haven't tested that. I'm sure Easton's done some testing, or other companies with vanes, but a few years ago we were shooting Total Archery Challenge, and there's like 10 of us in our group, and there were some guys down by our target, but kind of around the rock, they're in a safe spot. They were waiting for the shuttle to pick them up. Yeah. And so our shot, it was like a 110-yard shot, the grand finale of the day. Yeah. Right? So we're all just shooting, and because there was no behind us, we're kind of emptying our quivers. We're all just shooting as many as we can. And so we got down there, and these guys came busting out from behind that rock, went up to the target, and they're like, whose arrow is this? Whose is this right here? And one of the guys like, yeah, it's my arrow. And he's like, that was by far the quietest arrow in the whole group. Everybody else's were whistling and loud, and we couldn't even hear that arrow. And they were like taking pictures of the veins and the setup, and they wanted to, for obvious reasons, they wanted to know exactly how that one was set up. So I don't remember what that arrow was today, but I remember there was a difference, and those guys understood how important that was after being downrange, hearing the arrows come. And
I know.
Yeah, so
as fast as these animals can react, that's why everybody used to shoot the Blazers, which were pretty short and tall. So it's going to really cut that air and be noisy. Yeah. Now you can get so I shoot the 4 Fletch, and it's more lower profile, which I think is quieter. But you still get that control because I got 4 on there. But yeah, I mean, I'm always thinking about, what does this thing sound like heading to the animal?
Yeah. But, and their instincts, there's, like you said, their instinct to duck an arrow or to know something's coming that's not right or insane. I mean, they're so much better than ours. Yeah. And I don't know if you've ever had this happen, but I was driving, down the highway one day, and I saw this dump truck was coming towards me, and I don't know how I saw it, because I'm going 60, he's going 60, but I saw this rock come off his dump truck, hit the pavement, and coming for my windshield. Oh, God. It happened that fast. Yeah. But I still had time to do that, in that moment. Like, it's not my normal instinct. Right. Yeah. But there was something about all of that happening, and you know, it wasn't life threatening, but
Right.
it could have been, right?
It's a reaction.
So an animal lives their whole life every day like that. Like, like having to react to save their life, whether from predators or whatever. So they're so much better at it.
Yeah.
It's no problem to duck an arrow at 40, 50, 60 yards.
No.
Like, we think our arrows are fast enough. It's in the right condition, they're going to duck it every time. And maybe they still get hit and it's not a lethal hit, or maybe it still is a lethal hit, but they're never going to just stand there and take it.
Not usually. I mean, it's nice when they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, normally there's a wind blowing, something's, you know, like a little distraction for them. Either I killed a bull raking on a tree once. So that was like, you can get away with a lot more there, or if it's windy. But also, you know, you talk about how quick or how perceptive they are. God.
Yeah.
I was searching for a word, but like, I even think of this little dog that was barking at you. He's so sensitive, but if he's looking at me and I'm just looking at him, it's all good. But if I just go like this, like just kind of lower down, like a little predator type move, his hair stands. So it's like animals are so sensitive to even the body language, or even if you just kind of squint your eyes. So it's like, we got to think about this when we're hunting, not just the arrow and how much they can pick it up, but also your body language and how you're acting. It's like, so there's a big, you know, we've talked about it, or I've talked about it before, but I remember Truett was filming me in Utah's elk hunting, and this bull was coming in. And I told him, I said, keep your head down. Like, you keep your hat down and your head down. Don't be staring at this bull at 10 yards, because it's over.
Right.
Because they will see those eyes, predator eyes, staring at them. So it's, I think we can always learn and get better as far as just appreciating how good they are at picking things up.
Absolutely.
I'm curious. So what's your arrow setup?
I'm shooting right now, Axis 300s. I got I don't remember the weight of the insert, but it's their heavier insert and 100 grains up front. And
like a 55 grain insert?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Then 100. Well, it's your broadhead.
I liked the Grim Reaper 3-blade expandable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like just making a big hole.
I like 4 blades.
Yeah.
So yeah, I shoot those Connor 4s.
Okay.
But yeah, Wayne sold me on those. He was showing me some holes on deer he's killed, and I was just like, God, that looks pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've been trying those. And at first I thought, I've been such a fixed blade guy because they were, expandables were illegal here in Oregon until, just a few years ago. So I've always just been like a Muzzy Trocar or whatever. But and then I was like, well, I'm only going to use them on deer or bear, something smaller, not on elk. Then I was like, I hit that buck up there and on the wall to the left, and I hit it like shooting down 36 yards in Idaho down off this cliff, and I hit it a little back and high. And it was pretty windy, and I shot, and I was just like, oh no, because it just didn't go right where I wanted to. And the buck ran out 80 yards and piled up, and I was just like, that was kind of cool. I mean, didn't hit it perfect, and that was the result. So then I'm like, well, maybe I should try these on elk. But so I've been using them on, I think I killed some stuff this year with an iron will, just because those are good hits too. I like shooting
really good hits.
Shooting different things. But as I said, I think I told you yesterday, I practice, and I posted on Instagram, but I practice with fixed blade all the time, just so I'm doing everything right as far as technically and getting that arrow out of there clean. But then hunt with expandable sometimes. So it's but a fixed blade will tell you exactly how that bow's tuned.
Yeah, there's no margin of error.
How you shoot. So I just like putting different fixed blade heads on, and just if all my arrows are performing the same, I know that my bow's set up good.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a good test.
The Hoyts have been great for that. So and what bow are you shooting?
I've been shooting the Alpha X33 this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've shot carbon for every year.
Yeah.
And this year, when the engineers got us a few bows for hunting season, and I grabbed that Alpha X33, and it just shot so good.
It's tough to beat.
So good.
Yeah. That's such a good bow. What do you sell more of, carbon or those?
It's pretty even. And then it kind of depends too on the year. Like if aluminum comes out and it's kind of all new and carbon's kind of an update, then aluminum seems to do a little bit better. But if it's a year where like carbon's all new and aluminum's kind of an update, then carbon will do better. So it just kind of depends.
So this year, probably the Alpha X did better.
Yeah,
because it looks so different.
Yeah. They're this year they're pretty even. That new cam system, I mean, it kind of was the equalizer because the carbon didn't get a big update, except that cam is so smooth, and so a lot of guys are upgrading that had carbon. So it's pretty even this year. Yeah.
So the key is, well, yeah, I mean, the big updates are tough, but big updates mean more sales because people are like, oh, this is a lot better. I need to spend $2,000 on a new bow.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge for you guys, right?
That is a challenge. Yeah. I mean, it's because, like I said, speed's maxed out and the bows are quiet. Like to have a big update in today's age is tough. I mean, when I first started at Hoyt, we had big updates every year. Like the improvements were easier to come by. But man, the bows are so good now. It's getting harder. But our engineers they're studs and they figure something out every year.
Hoyt Archery has been my bow hunting sponsor since 2005. And personally, I really don't care what bow you shoot, what brand it is. I just hope that you have the same level of confidence in your equipment as I have in mine. Because I know if I get one opportunity with my Hoyt, it's going to pay off. Mountain Ops has been my go-to supplements for the past 7 years. My exclusive Keep Hammering line of products offers a blended protein powder, BCAAs, and a pre-workout that I take every day. Mountain Ops provides quality nutrition and gear to help you conquer through your passions. Their brand is all about faith, family, and hunt, and they truly focus on improving the lives of thousands. Plus, I love that they're a brand designed by hunters for hunters. So head over to mountainops.com and use code CAM to save on my Keep Hammering Signature Series or anything else I offer to help you train inside and conquer outside. You know, I mentioned that, I can't remember where I mentioned this. Maybe it's like during one of my talks today at the Lift Run Shoot, but I didn't, as dumb as it sounds, I didn't know anything about draw force curve really until, I was throwing a fit about that I wanted a 90-pound bow. And so you can make a bow 90, right? So I had 80-pound bows and we were twisting up, doing all sorts of stupid things to make it 90 pounds. But you guys showed me like that draw force curve. It did get to 90, but it was gone right after it got there. Yeah. Whereas you guys made me the bow and it gets up to 90 and it stays there. So it's just pushing that arrow at that full velocity or power or whatever you refer to it as. But that draw force curve is everything as far as performance. Right. So I still had to pull 90, but I wasn't getting the benefit of it. Exactly. Yeah. So there was no energy, not as much energy being stored under the curve because it arced over so quick and didn't, have any kind of that flat part on the top. Right. So, And so just in general, has the trend of Hoyt, are they better in that regard as far as energy? Is like, do you guys improve that all the time? Or is there a goal that you like, okay, here's where we need to perform? Or does it get better? I don't know. I think, like I said, it's so related to speed. Like if we can get more speed, we can get more energy. So now what we're concentrating on is we're kind of there with the energy and with the speed, but how do we make it feel better or easier to draw? And so the way they've shaped the curve with this new cam, the HBX Exact cam, I mean, it's if you looked at two curves next to each other, you would hardly be able to tell the difference. But the details of the shape of that curve and where they're, for example, our cam, it's harder to draw right at the beginning than maybe a competitor's bow, but that's okay because you're right here. You have all your strengths. You're strong right there. If it's harder to draw back here when you're already spread out, now you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't get that over the let off, And so the way where they're putting most of the force in the draw force curve or under the draw force curve, and if my engineers heard me talking, they'd be like, dude, you're saying it all wrong. But you get the idea, right? Yeah, I do. And so then when you're back here now, you get all the energy here, and when you're back here, it rolls over nice and smooth. You're like, holy smokes, is this 70? Yeah, it's 70. It just feels really good. 70 feels like 60? Yeah. What does 90 feel like? 90? 90 feels like 90 every time. How many guys want a 90-pound bow do you hear from? Sorry. Too many, Cam. I know. Too many. Yeah, I know. And Yeah, whatever.
It's all right. It's good.
At least, like I said, when I was trying to sell you on that, at least they're talking about it. At least they're talking about Hoyt, right?
That's right.
It's better than them not talking about Hoyt.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh, no, but it's, I don't know. I had the best time having, just this journey of being involved with such a great company, but having Waddell on, he came on the podcast here, and he's such, I was like, he was the man at Hoyt for so long, right? And I'd be like so jealous of, God, how his show kicked ass. First it was Mark Womack was doing road trips.
Yeah.
And that show was just like, there's no competition for it. It was so good.
They broke the mold.
They did.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't know, I've always just been a big fan of his. So it was really fun. And seeing like, part of just how Hoyt, it seems like, it's been the same people pretty much, right? It's like you guys have your core, whoever, and it hardly changes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of loyalty both directions,
Yeah,
right?
right.
I mean, Michael's been loyal to us, you've been loyal to us, Ralph and Vicky have been loyal to us.
Yeah.
And in turn, we've been loyal to them, right? And so it's kind of how we've operated. I mean, Randy Ulmer shooting Hoyt forever, and so, it's, there's a few changes here and there. We picked up some new people this year, for example, but
Who'd you get?
So Cody Robbins up in Canada, he shoots giant bucks.
Yeah, he does. They got big world record. I think he killed at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Jeff Danker has a group called Buck Ventures. He's got a really cool mission behind his group. He's shooting Hoyt now, and his group is Whitetail Addictions, who are the lone wolf guys. So they're shooting Hoyt now. Bo Martonic, his podcast, East Meets West.
Oh, yeah. I do know that. Yeah.
A lot of people know East Meets West, but maybe not his name.
Yeah, no, I remember. I know his name's Bo. I didn't know about the last name. But yeah, I have listened to that one.
Yeah.
He seems like a good kid.
He does a good job. So yeah, there's always some new faces, and some they either retire or leave or get tired of doing it or whatever. So there's a little bit of coming and going, but for the most part, our core has been in place for as long as I've been at Hoyt. So
yeah, how hard is it, like, because there's personalities, people have different goals, like saying, like, if you're giving too much support to one person and not enough to another, because I'm just saying, speaking from experience, I'm like, I want a bigger picture in the catalog, or I want to be like, then you're like, I want my own bow. How hard is that? Like dealing with people and their expectations.
It can be tough. I mean, yeah, speaking of the catalog, today the catalog's nothing, right? But that used to be it.
Back in the day.
Who was the biggest and who was upper left, who was first. And the first couple of years, I didn't really get it. And Mike would be like, no, we got to move him. Like, why? It fits perfect right here. No, he can't be there. We got to move him. And he understood it, and I soon caught on. But yeah, it can be tough. But again, my job is to spend Hoyt's money the best way possible.
Yeah.
To provide a return. And we've got 200 employees that need a paycheck every month. And I'm supposed to create the demand to sell the bows, to pay the bills, right? And so at the end of the day, I just got to separate my emotion, my personal feelings for whoever, and be like, this is the right thing to do, I think, to sell more bows. Yeah. So,
well, I don't know. I know one thing that's probably helped is getting Joe back shooting a Hoyt.
Yeah.
Because he's got such a big reach, and he loves that new Hoyt. I mean, he's so accurate with it, so it's pretty cool to see.
I know. I love seeing him. I mean, he just is in love with it. He's truly passionate about shooting his bow and bow hunting.
He sends me archery stuff almost. I mean, I'm not gonna say every day, but all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, just yesterday sent me this thing about a Delta target with the 3D thing, and then today sent me this funny archery reel. I mean, he's just obsessed with archery.
Yeah.
And I'll put up something, and he'll like say, "Hey, so what'd you think of that new Spot Hog sight? Is it that much?" It's just like, and then when he shoots, it's for hours. He just loves shooting his bow.
Yeah.
And he, that new bow is so accurate. He just raves about how good it feels to shoot.
Yeah.
And so it's great having him in our corner for sure.
For sure. Yeah. His reach, I mean, we all know it, but his reach is beyond what our reach is.
Yeah,
his
for sure.
his reach reaches people that we can't market to.
Yeah.
This was I don't know, 1 or 2 summers ago, and I was out in my backyard and I heard the distinct sound of an arrow being shot and hitting a target over the neighbor's fence.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I turned to my wife. I said, "Was that an arrow?" And she's like, "It sounded like it." And then another one. And I'm like, and the family that lives there, I had never dreamed they would be shooting a bow in their backyard, right? So I go over there and I kind of peek over the fence, and it's Johnny, you know, their youngest kid. And at this point, he's probably 18, 19. And he's shooting a bow. And I'm like, "Johnny, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Dude, I got a bow." And Johnny's like snowboarder, skater, right?
Yeah,
He
not the hunting
fits
crowd.
the stereotype perfect as a snowboarder, skateboarder, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, "You got a bow?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm going to go hunting this year, try and get my own meat." And I'm like, "What made you want to do that?" And he's like, "Oh, I was listening to Joe Rogan." And I'm like, "Dude, right there, dude." So
I know.
yeah, he went down to Cabela's. He bought the bow that he could afford, and he got
Yeah.
a target in his backyard. And you know, that's the reach, the power of Joe Rogan. You know,
Yeah.
in our industry, is getting new people into it. So
Yeah. And it's not even, I mean, even if he wasn't shooting Hoyt, because he wasn't for a while, but just talking about archery,
Yeah.
that's a win. That's a
Exactly.
win for all of us. But the fact that he's shooting the Alpha X, that helps too.
yeah, 100%.
And it's just, do you guys see, like, is there an immediate response when he puts something up or he talks about it that you guys notice?
No, because it's hard for us to see that.
Because a dealer's
spike.
order.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because of our sales model where we don't sell consumer direct.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we sell to dealers and dealers sell to consumers.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lag there when, you know, we just don't see that immediate impact. If we were selling a product online, we
Yeah.
could see it immediately. Wow,
Right.
today his sales spiked. What happened? Oh, Joe Rogan posted something.
Yeah.
Right? And so we don't get to see that. And as a marketer, I would love to see that, but
Make it easy to
you know,
track. Yeah.
with bows, they're complicated to set up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would be hard. It would be a really tough distribution model to be consumer direct and have consumers have a successful positive experience having a bow just show up to their door.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, now what do I need? Well, you need an arrow rest. How do I put that on?
Yeah.
You know, and you need a sight. Well, what kind of sight? Well, I don't know. Figure it out, you know, and well, what arrows should I get? Well, make sure they're the right ones. If you got a 70-pound bow, you need a 300 spine arrow. If you get, you know, don't get the wrong ones because it could, you know,
so much.
There's so much. And so, because I have people all the time, why don't you guys sell direct? Why don't you sell direct? Man, it's just too tough. Like we need the dealers to be part of that experience. You know, you saw it last night at Wayne's shop. I mean, those guys were getting all these new shooters today.
Yeah.
Set up with everything right.
Yeah. And I talked about that in my class today that, you know, you can have the exact same bow, same rest, same sights. If the bow's not set up right, you're not going to hit anything. You're not going to, you probably won't kill anything. You won't be consistent.
Yeah.
So I told them today, having the bow rack set it up and spend that time with you is so valuable. And I'm so lucky to be a mile from the bow rack, right? But, you know, you take it for granted because there's people out there who don't have a great shop like that.
Right.
And then that's why the people travel to the bow rack to get that help because they care. They go through the details and you can't just bust that out in a half hour. It takes a while.
It takes a little while.
It takes a while. And so for them to set up 20 guys last night, just grinding, I think they had 9 people in there working. But it's such a good archery pro shop, invaluable. I mean, you can't even talk about how important it really is to the success of an archer, let alone bow hunting.
Exactly.
But it's I just love and Wayne loves it.
Yeah,
He loves,
so good at it. And
loves teaching people archery. I'm a little bummed he took off to the shop today because he's like so good. I mean, I'm sure you guys did a great job too, but he's just like, that's his passion.
Yeah.
But I think he's short on guys at the shop because we had them all out here at the lift, run, shoot.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's one of the model shops in the country for sure.
Who sells the most bows for you? What shop? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean,
He's probably pretty good on the West Coast.
Yeah, he's pretty good. we've got a shop here in our hometown in Utah, Wild Arrow.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah.
do a really good job. We've got some shops, kind of in the Midwest and the Pennsylvania area. I mean,
A lot of hunters back
Pennsylvania's
there.
loaded with hunters. Yeah. So I don't know who our top shop is, but we have a lot of shops that just do an amazing job for us. Shills, they're the only kind of box store, and we don't consider them a box store. We consider each of their locations an independent dealer because they do a really good job of training their employees. And because of what we just talked about, how technical it is to set up a bow and send somebody home with their new bow and knowing that it's set up right, we're pretty particular on who gets to carry Hoyt.
Yeah.
And Shills has proven themselves, as a big retailer that they can do it. And so they're a really good account, and then lots of other independent shops around the country that just crush for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. What have you? I'm so pumped you came out for the event. What do you think of what we're doing out here at the Lift Run Shoot?
It's awesome. These guys, I mean, they pay to come, and then they pay their way to get here, and then they spend a few days. They got their butt kicked this morning on a workout.
Yeah,
it was brutal. I was planning to do it, but then we had some technical difficulties with our presentation, and so I had to get all that ready because they were coming through for seminars, right? And so I was just watching, like, I'm really glad that we had some technical difficulties this morning because that looked really, and those guys they crushed it. And some of them are in really good shape. You can tell, like, they're made for that. And some other guys, they're pretty average, like me.
Just
and
push
they
through.
still just push through it. And you and I were talking about it, but there was no one complaining. No one, harassing each other. Everyone's just positive and uplifting and helping each other get through it. So that was really cool. And then seeing them get their bows, and some of them are experienced, some of them are brand new. But again, nobody's feeling bad about where they're at in their journey. They're just here to get better. And we need more of that.
I know.
More of that, man.
I love it. It's so positive and so healthy. And we had a question there at the second class, and it's like they hadn't hunted, so they're getting a bow for the first time, but have hiked before.
Yeah.
And so asked, what's the best advice you can get to somebody who wants to hunt, who hasn't hunted? And I go, well, okay, you've been in the woods, at least you've hiked. That's a big thing, because if you haven't been in the woods, that's a big step. But so I said the difference would be is when you've been hiking, you see a deer and you're like, oh, that's cute, or that's it has a fawn, whatever. If it's a big buck, you're like, oh man, nice, that's a big buck, if you even know it's a buck.
Yeah, exactly.
But I said, so right now you've just seen that and just kind of appreciate that. But once you change your mindset from predator to prey, then you're like, you look at that animal, and then all of a sudden you're feeling the wind, and you're like, oh, the wind's on the left side of my face. So I guess I could circle around here, get the wind in my face, and use that rock outcropping to pop over the top, and then you're in bow range. So you just start looking at things differently.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest mindset shift, is like, instead of just being out, whatever, hunters have to be so in tune with everything. And it starts with how do I get close to that animal, or what's that animal's body language, or is it spooked or alert? And it's pretty exciting to be able to, you don't get that question too often about, I don't know anything, what do I do? And that's why this experience, this Lift Run Shoot, they're getting so much advantage, because how we learned probably was just good luck.
Yeah.
Go out, figure it out.
Right.
I didn't have anybody telling me the basics about, you got to think, your predator, their prey. This is how you got to think about it. I didn't have birds and bees talk like that. Man. It was. Yeah. So it's pretty exciting for me to have. It's mostly all new hunters. I think only like 5 people raised their hand that they had, bow hunted or shot a bow before. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love sharing our passion with new people.
Yeah. Yep. And then they're going to go home, and if they're not bow hunters, then probably most of their friends aren't.
Right.
So now they're going home and have an influence on them.
Yeah.
And hopefully this is how we grow it again, and get new people into it, is start with a few new people, let them influence their circle, and get more in. That's what we need to have happen.
Yeah. So, you say that the numbers are down, but all you hear the bitching about is too many hunters.
I know.
So what is that? Is that just gatekeepers? They don't want new people out there, or what is it?
That's a good question. Because I've thought about that too.
Yeah.
You know, it's harder to draw tags, and yeah, it doesn't make sense. But you know, I think back when I was in elementary, we got the deer hunt off, and it was called the deer hunt.
Yeah.
We got the deer hunt off.
Yeah, opening day off.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody was, I don't know, 3 out of 4 people, if I remember right, were involved in the deer hunt somehow.
Yeah.
Whether they were hunting or their family was going or whatever. And that's way different now. So even just like looking at that, you know there's fewer people.
Yeah.
But to your point, it feels like there's more. And I don't know if that's because, you know, now because there are so many resources online, you know, where YouTube, whatever. Oh, I need to go deeper. I need to go in this area, and digital scouting. Now there's just more people in the good spots.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's a big part, because like when where I killed that bull, my first decent bull was in the Eagle Cap Wilderness. And to get back there, I mean, I had to go down to REI. I had to buy like 4 different topo maps and like cut them and tape them just to get this quadrant right. And then you're like reading that map, and then you get back there. I didn't have a sat phone or anything. So I was just by myself, right?
Yeah.
It's intimidating. And then you got this map, and you're trying to figure out the map. And then if the clouds come in, you can't see mountaintops, and you're like, you got to read these contour lines. It's a lot. Now it's all on your phone.
Right.
You put a waypoint, here's my truck. I'm never lost.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
so
it's different.
it does give everybody more confidence. And confidence is a big part of hunting the mountains. You know, when you didn't have it, you weren't going deep because you need to get back to your truck.
Yeah.
And I do think that the mapping systems have definitely altered like hunting deep.
Yeah.
Because more guys can go back there with confidence.
Right. Yeah,
But
I agree.
Yeah. And then, but I don't know. I think because they say like, you know, there's detractors, and of course I got haters, but there's haters on the industry too. And they'll say that, you know, hunting numbers haven't went down. And I don't know about that, but even if it was the same amount, the population has increased so much. So our percentage of hunters in the general population, which I don't know what that relates to, but it definitely relates to acceptance, because you talked about if their friends don't bow hunt, if they don't bow hunt, their friends probably don't. And so that's just less people having like accepting hunting as being viable or being ethical or being just palatable. And so it's, more people, same amount of hunters, you're just going to have less acceptance over what we love.
Right.
And that's going to show up in like the ballot box.
Absolutely.
And everything else.
Yeah. Just ask Colorado, you know, what they're going through right now. And so.
Yeah, it's a scary time for that, especially in states like Colorado with that liberal governor. And yeah, it's, I'm going to go back there and speak in August talking about, just everything that's going on back there, because they're trying to, you know, with the lion hunting and different things. You know, they got the wolves back there too, which everybody knows about. But it's an interesting time for hunting. But what I see is a lot of excitement and passion right here at the bow rack every day, and then at this event. So I don't want to belabor the negativity part of it, because we talked about how positive this event is.
Right.
And there's a lot to celebrate for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I said, those who are engaged can be more engaged than they ever were able to in the past, just because we can follow each other online. We can comment on each other's stuff. We can watch videos every day. We don't have to wait till the next episode comes out on TV, or the next magazine comes at the next month to engage in new content. So those of us who are still at it, man, we're more engaged than our dads and grandpas could have ever dreamed of being.
For sure. And you know, the way it is with social media is like you almost can't post too much. People are just on there nonstop, right?
know, yeah.
So whatever you put up, the more you put up, the more people watch it.
Yeah.
But it's a little frustrating, because I don't know if you guys deal with this, but the algorithm thing, like, do you guys ever get suppressed where you're like, why the heck is this not getting any more traction? That's frustrating.
Yep.
Does that?
Well, yeah, we feel it. I mean, I can't remember, someone the other day was telling me I can't find Hoyt.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just search it. I am searching it, and we weren't coming up. Like,
You got to like put the whole name in there.
Right. You got to put it exactly.
Yeah.
You can't just do a general search because.
Well, even like if I put in, like me and Joe send things back and forth all the time on DMs, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I put in Joe, he doesn't even come up. So it's just, I mean, he's like the only Joe I ever send messages to. So how could that not come up?
What would you be looking for?
Yeah, so I got to put in Joe Rogan. So they're even like, I don't know if it's because he's like, they think he's red pill now, or I don't know what it is. I don't know. Or he's, maybe still back from the COVID thing. But yeah, but he's so big, he still grows.
Right.
But for people like us, who we kind of rely on that, let's get our message out.
Yeah.
Please don't suppress us, because we got things we want to share. It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, mine was down for like 2 weeks where, like, normally my Instagram grows about 500 a day, just roughly. And for 2 weeks, I was losing followers every day. I'm like, I'm putting up the same stuff I've always put up.
Right.
So obviously you guys are throttling something back.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah. And we have no say, no input, no recourse at all.
I know.
Nothing.
I thought, well, maybe they think I'm whatever. So I started following Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, like, just because.
Did it work?
No. But I thought, well, maybe if I pretend like I'm, some liberal dipshit, or no, I guess there's some normal liberals, but whatever. I didn't vote for Joe Biden. So anyway, maybe if they thought that I'm like, okay, maybe he's not like super redneck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they'll help me, but no, didn't help.
Didn't work.
No. So what's on tap? What's coming up for Hoyt? Like, tell me what the new bow.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you all about it.
Yeah. Here's the engineering details.
Yeah.
Don't tell Matthews. No. Well, you guys got some big plans?
Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, our engineers, they're awesome.
They are.
I mean, they're so smart. I mean, I go back when, talking about how our bows get quieter and they're explaining stuff to me, and I'm just like, wow, how did you think of that or figure that out? Or why didn't you think of that sooner? But, they're just an awesome team, good guys, and passionate, which is so important. They're not just some engineers we hired and then we explained archery to them. They were already passionate about archery and bow hunting, and they bring that passion and understanding to their job, and it makes them so good. So they're always working on stuff, and they'll be, we launch a new bow every year, and there'll be a new bow, and it'll have some cool stuff, and we'll see what it is.
We can count on that. Well, how's it? It's kind of a sort of related, but has it changed much since Randy Walk left to Zach? I mean, or is it
it's definitely different. Yeah, they both have their different leadership styles and different vision. Randy obviously very successful leading Hoyt for 30 years.
Yeah.
Hoyt's a premier company in this industry, and so he did a really good job. And when he retired, everybody was kind of like,
yeah,
what's going to happen? And Zach stepped in, and it was awesome. I remember the first day when he was president, he brought all the executive team into the office, and he drew a big circle on the whiteboard, and he says, this is Hoyt right now. Everything's been thrown out. What do we want back in, and what do we never want back in?
Oh.
And he let us have a discussion, and that's kind of been his leadership style is, we don't have to keep doing it just because we did, but we can.
Yeah.
Or what else do we want to do? And so that's a
great approach.
Yeah. So he's been awesome. Just, very involved, but not by any means a micromanager. I mean, he told me first day, he's like, you're the expert at marketing, not me. So you just keep me up to speed on what you're doing so that I'm not blindsided, or that I understand why you're doing it, but I'm going to let you do it. So
what's been your best idea?
I mean, it's tough because I've thought about this before, like after we've had a campaign, and I'm like, whose idea was that? Like, where did that come from on the team? Was that my idea?
Well, if it was good, it was yours.
Yeah, if it was good, it was mine. But I mean, that's kind of how we are as a team, right? When we're just sharing ideas, and somebody's idea might not be the final idea, but it might trigger this idea.
It's a process.
Yeah. So, man, I I don't know. I can't even answer that. Can I? Because I would hate to say, yeah, I think that was my idea, and it was actually someone else's idea. So.
It was Evan's.
Yeah.
No, but it's hey, you're the boss. You get to take credit.
Yeah.
Right. No, that was just kind of just messing around. But like, so what can I do to do better for Hoyt? How about that?
Oh man. Well, if you'd shoot your bow a little more.
Okay.
That would be good. I mean, I'll
try that.
Yeah,
So every day's not enough?
Yeah. Try twice a day and see if that helps.
I gotcha.
No, you're, like I said, I mean, you're the guy, you know what I mean? Like every day you shoot your bow. Mm-hmm. I don't know anyone else who does that.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone else.
Right.
There's a few guys, tournament shooters who probably do. It's their livelihood and this is your livelihood, but you don't have to shoot every day. It wouldn't make a difference, but you do. Right. So every day people are seeing you shoot. So yeah, I appreciate that. Like it's easy. It's easy to have you on staff. You live it.
I want to make it easy.
You're real. So
I want to make it like it. When you guys are making decisions on your budget, I want this part to be like no brainer. That's my goal with everybody. But it has changed because I wasn't ever really on TV. I mean, I hosted Eastman's for a while and then Rocky Mountain Elk, but I was never a Waddell.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of the grinded out guy. And now the fact that social media, and I just kind of went in social media kind of hard early.
Yeah.
And now it's like social media is pretty much not everything, but a lot of everything. And it feels pretty good to have grinded later. And now it's like, oh, we're reaching a lot of people now.
Yeah.
Because when I'm not suppressed, I'm getting, it'll get to, I don't know, I've been to 40 million people in a month. So you think like on your insights or your reach or whatever, but 40 million, like you think about the TV days or the magazine days, if you're reaching 100,000, that's pretty good.
Right.
I mean, in a magazine, but maybe more if it's multiple times on the Outdoor Channel. But I mean, we're blowing that out of the water as far as getting the archery lifestyle out there.
Yeah.
And that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Social media's helped us there.
Yep. For sure.
But it's been a good run. I'm super thankful to be such a long time staff member of Hoyt, and like you guys have supported me so much. Yeah, I got my name on a bow. I mean, it's and hopefully it's selling. Does it sell?
It sells.
Okay.
Yeah, it sells. Yeah.
Well, probably is because it's not out east. It probably doesn't outsell Bone Collector. Do you think?
I don't know. We don't talk about our numbers, but but both bows do. Both bows do well.
Exactly the same. Exactly the same sales, right?
That's right. It's split even.
Well, hopefully it's paying off. But I appreciate, because bow hunting has been everything to me, and to have a partner like you guys, and for you to believe in me and say those nice things, and to be here for this epic event that I've dreamt about for years, it means a lot.
Yeah.
I
remember when we did the I Am Defiant video.
Yeah.
And I don't remember, it was a Friday and a Saturday, and on Friday you're like, should we do a lift run shoot tomorrow? And I was like, how are we going to do that? And he's like, I'll just put out a thing on social media and see if guys show up. Mm-hmm. So on Friday you texted, who wants to lift run shoot tomorrow morning, Pisgah, 8:00.
Yeah.
And like 20 guys showed up.
Yeah.
And they ran the hill with you. Then we went to the farm and lifted weights, and then we shot bows. And I was like, and you had done a couple before that.
Yeah.
But that was the first lift run shoot that I was part of, and it was so spur of the moment.
It was. I remember the trail we were running on when I said that, and it was like on the bottom along the river.
Yeah.
We had been, and we just talked about it right there, and I'm like, oh, I'll just put it out right now. And it's always been, I've always loved sharing this, and now it's just at another level. Yeah. But you were definitely there for that one.
Yeah.
And that video did pretty good. I mean,
that video was cool.
I can't remember who edited that one.
That was Taylor.
Taylor, yeah. Such a good job.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a fun campaign.
Yeah, it was a fun campaign, except the numbers are out there. So then people, if they didn't get the views they thought they should, they're probably upset. But whatever. Yeah. Or like, why'd they do a film on this person? They should have done it on this person.
Yeah,
I'm sure you guys had to deal with all that.
Politics of it. Yep.
But that's your job.
Yeah.
But no, thank you, Jeremy. I mean, it's this relationship means a lot to me, and I'm so appreciative and grateful.
Yeah.
So
same
thank
with
you.
us. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thanks for taking time out. We got to get back out to our event out there, but thank you for jumping on the podcast.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
All right. Keep hammering.
All right.
Every step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use every comment, hate that makes my fuel. Gather up my energy and boom. I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with. Giving my blood, so I am relentless. My fault, they want someone to blame. They sent their hate, it fuels my pace. I am Roy Tough, I am the change, the fuel in dirt. Feeling like Cam Haynes. Oh, give me the Mars, nobody wants, I'll give you my heart. I came in to work.